All right. No intro today, huh, Andrea?
I pushed the button here. Hold on one second. Here
No,
we go.
you're okay. That's great. We don't have to have it. You're
Okay.
hilarious.
It might go. I don't know. It'll be on a delay.
Well, we may be in like the middle of a sentence and there be an
Yeah.
intro. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. I wouldn't roll any other way if there's not some kind of technicalities. Well, thanks
Amen.
for coming on with us, JJ.
You bet.
We've
Glad to
had
be
you on
here.
before. For our audience that doesn't know, JJ is a representative in Oklahoma, but he is so much more than that. He actually has a backbone in the state legislature, which is something we're not used to seeing. However, we're seeing a little more of it, JJ. You just posted something, I don't know, it might have been a week ago. It might have been a month ago, the way time is going. Is time going like crazy for you guys? They'll be
Hey,
like, I'm like, yeah, that happened last week. They're like, no, Charity, that was 2 months ago. And I'm like, I don't know. It's crazy. But you posted recently, I'll be safe and say recently, but you said that you're seeing the beginnings of accountability. What was it you were referencing? I mean, I am seeing a shift. It's a small shift and it's frustrating, but it is still encouraging because I'm seeing a shift too. The people truly have had enough and they're standing up and they're holding their legislators accountable. They're holding their government accountable, which is the way it was always supposed to be. Tell me about what you're seeing and what prompted you to post that.
absolutely. So I think what really kind of started that was when Doge come in and people just started seeing the levels of corruption and just money's gone and where it was going and just the ridiculous stuff that was in. And we always looked at we think Washington D.C. And we like to think of ourselves here in Oklahoma. We're red. Oklahoma, every county went red. I mean, we're supposed to be the heartland and where conservatism is planted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what we've started, and it's not just me, and that's what I'm saying. You're starting to see several people come out.
Yeah.
You've seen in Wagner County a group come out and try to do a grand jury, and that grand jury got put down. But what was funny, the district attorney that was named in that grand jury was actually the one in there arguing to kill it. And it's like, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, where is ethics 101 in this issue, And so it comes out that later, and he's trying to get the attorney general to go after the people who started the grand jury. But it comes out in a federal court that one of the cases that he was putting under the rug comes out, that he's the wrong person and that actually happened. And then he comes out and said, well, I should have recused out of this. So now one of those cases is now being investigated too. So there's a lot of stuff right there. If you look at Pittsburgh County's got some stuff related to that. So we got Garfield County where the kids got waterboarded, possibly in a mental health institution. The Charity, here's what's funny. How is it that Oklahoma media doesn't pick up on this, but that makes the New York Times? So it's coming out. But the big thing that I think has really started it is that me and another guy, a couple others, in fact, I've got to give a Democrat person, the representative there in Stillwater actually signed on with us, and several of the Republicans didn't. I wish they would, because we're going to redo it again. But anyways, what we saw was we came out with a grand jury. A bunch of these political people came in and tried to quash that. That's illegal. The judge used an illegal means to kill it. We've appealed it. They're not going to do it, but we're going to come back and get another grand jury. In fact, I want to just go out and tell people, be watching Monday. We're going to go in and introduce a new grand jury. We have got people ready to sign on that. We got 250 people volunteered to bring it in. You remember when Trump dropped that bomb, his first administration, he dropped it on Afghan. That was the Moab bomb, the mother of all bombs. Well, it ain't going to be Trump. It's going to be Hump, and we're going to drop the mother of all bombs right there in Payne County. And we're going to put everybody in Oklahoma politics on that and let them answer why they've been covering up all these things in DHS. And these will be related to Payne County, but it's going to expose the whole state.
So, and guys, if this is happening, he's specifying DHS right here, which you alluded to a couple times. But if DHS is corrupt in Oklahoma, a state that voted for Trump 3 times, all 77 counties, it's happening where you're at. And we've had several guests on, and a matter of fact, you and I just talked, JJ, a mutual friend of ours, T, came on and talked about she's not from Oklahoma at all, and how DHS stole her son legally, stole him. And
Yes.
so not ethically, not morally, but legally. And, we had our Senator Shane Jett on that said we put things in place that were meant to help abused kids. But what's happened is DHS has taken these measures and abused the parents and misused them. And so they've got to be put back in place. But you mentioned Payne County. So is this in reference, and I just want people to understand what's going on. Is this in reference to the case that's been making the news? We had a high school student whose dad is a football coach and is well connected, had abused, not just raped, but abused some girls. It was beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond it's been proven, and he got a slap on the hand. Is that what is spurring this?
Oh, Charity, that hadn't just went nationwide. I was on with the guy the other day, and I've been on several national kind of either podcast or news, and he was telling me, hey, we're getting stuff from Iceland on this, so it's unbelievable. But that guy, what he did, he raped more than one. There's other victims out there, but he strangled them, and then apparently he enjoyed it so much he wanted to videotape it, and so he videotaped it, is my understanding. So again, it's not, they call that Exhibit 1, Exhibit A in a court of law. That's called evidence. And so they went in, and what people need to understand, they adjudicated him. Now, this is the way I understand it. They adjudicated him, which means they had a hearing. So he was 17, I think, when this happened. They adjudicated him an adult, which means they had a court hearing. They said everything. This is heinous enough. He's old enough. We need to go ahead and try him as an adult. They did that once he pled no contest, which is the same as guilty. I mean, he pled guilty. He was going to get 78 years, if I remember correctly. The Judge Worthington, now here's something important. I've been researching what I understand. It may have been a Judge Culling that actually made the deal with the DA. And then Judge Culling gets Judge Worthington to go in there. So it looks like he put her on the hook, But anyways, he puts her in there. She goes in and files a Youthful Offender Act, puts him, sentenced him under the Youthful Offender Act, meaning that he will, when he turns 19, so he's 18 something now. So in 7 or 8 months, this guy's going to get off. No sex offender record, no having to register. And they gave him 150 hours, I think, community service. I mean, people are but what has happened with this has really put the attention on Stillwater, and it really put the attention on our grand jury, because we knew this case was going on and we knew about the case, but we didn't know that she would come in and do that. So we didn't have the case included, but we had this grand jury going. And so what happened when we have the grand jury, the guy who organized the grand jury, they end up arresting him, putting $1 million bond on him. Unbelievable. And we had another grandma who reported, and they arrested him over him reporting his kid being abused. We got another grandma who reported abuse on her grandchild. Grandchild gets dropped off to her. She's living in an assisted living home. She takes the grandkid to a doctor. Doctor goes over to, I think, over Guthrie, Edmond, I believe, and gets some other doctors. They confirm that the kid's been sexually abused. The state steps in. We need DHS. This is the cases we need them. They stepped in, did the right thing, and had the kid. The abuser shows up, going to get the kid, and she says, hey, the kid's in custody of state. He goes back to sheriffs go to the DAs. The DAs issue a writ to grandma, bring the kid back. She's like, can't bring kid back. It's in the state. They issue a warrant for grandma, arrest grandma.
Wow.
So this is what's going on in Payne County. And we've got teachers. We got one teacher had oral sex, I think, with a 13-year-old, if I am right. They dropped it down to like sexting, trading pictures back and forth. He gets about 8 months, if I remember, and he gets out and has sex with the 16-year-old, about like that. While that case is pending, which ought to be easy, he's on probation. You ought to be able to revoke him like nobody's business. But he gets 11 violations of protective order. How do you get 11? You pled guilty to a 13-year-old. You got a 16-year-old, which they have messages and all kinds of stuff. Great case. And yet you're out there being allowed to violate protective orders, harass that 16-year-old to the point she goes down and says, I don't want to even be charged anymore. So now I think he ended up being in jail on a DUI. You got a DA there, an ADA that in 2022, it's my understanding, got caught with 150 videos of child pornography, and his case is still pending. And it looks like they're trying to put a little hoodoo magic and cover it up. But 3 years, I mean, that ought to be a top priority to go after in 3 years. So these are the things that are now coming out because of the attention. When they got me on national media, I said, hey, y'all just barely hitting the tip of the iceberg. Oh, yeah, there he is. I'll give you a case right here. They looked it up. They come back on 2 days later. Would you come back on here? I said, listen, y'all are just hitting the tip of the icebergs. That's 2 of them. And I do believe that you're going to see a case that involves about 6 women being sexually assaulted that has been buried underneath. And the only reason I'm saying this, I've kind of been sworn to secrecy by the family, and I've honored that. But I do believe I saw a news article with it, so I will go ahead and mention it. But I keep talking about how victims have to hire attorneys to get the DA. When did a rape victim have to hire an attorney to get the DA to do their job? And it's just, who has that? You know, if you got a rich dad, or you not rich, but you know, if you got dad just got a little money and can hire an attorney, okay. Or if you have money and you can hire an attorney. But most college students don't have that, and it's to strap their family. And when you're going through an ordeal like that, do you need to spend $5,000-$10,000 hiring an attorney just to get the state?
And that's something that Tom and I talk about that all the time. Tom Renz talks about, you know, the 2-tier justice system, and it's not that it's racist, it's that it's the rich and the poor. If you're poor, you're not going to get representation. I mean, we have the 2-tier justice system on many levels, but there's an issue, like you're saying, with the rich kids are getting all the attorney help that they can get, but you know, if you don't have money, you're
exactly.
You don't
well, you know, the pedophiles are purposely picking those kids on purpose as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you know, it's disgusting that apparently the Clintons are not the only people above the law. The law will protect pedophiles unless you have enough money. That's what continues to be proven over and over and over. The bigger question we need to be asking is why? Why is it if you murder someone, you know, it's more, you are less likely to be protected than if you assault someone sexually? Why is that? What is going on with our justice system and our DAs? We need to be looking at the people in charge.
I mean, but look at Pam Bondi. When we've got her as our example, she's a nightmare. Where are the arrests? What happened with the Diddy case? What's going on? You know, why is Comey and all the, like, everything's getting pushed under the rug and they're not doing anything. So our justice system from the top down is so flawed.
Well, the transparency, that's the deal. What we see in DHS, they're hiding behind confidentiality, and they're saying, oh, we got to protect these kids. Well, confidentiality is there to protect the kids, and we want to protect kids, but don't use that confidentiality to abuse kids and to abuse the system and hide behind that, whether it's DOC, whether it's mental health. I could go on. I could tell you I'm investigating every one of these. I have multiple lawsuits filed with that I'm involved in. I've set them up, organized them against DOC. I've came out early and exposed all the money being gone in mental health. And again, that's just a nightmare. It's not only that you got $90 million going, it's that you're sitting there looking, what are we getting for our money? Nothing. And that's why we have the homeless issue. That's why we have so much repetitive crime. And again, these courts are allowing it. And what ought to shock Oklahoma, you know, I've got a case, Richard Glossop, that we got involved in. I didn't even want to get involved in it. I was like, hey, man, it's death penalty case. That dude's gotten 500, opportunities to research his case, appeal his case. I don't want to be in that. And I had a friend just stayed on me, and I started looking at it, decided I'd look at it because I knew who represented him and knew he didn't get a good representation. Got in it and said, my gosh, it's not what I'm seeing, it's what I'm not seeing. How in the world did y'all convict this dude? I mean, it's a terrible case, but we got involved and we ended up getting with another group, and we were able to prove that the DA instructed the investigator to put 10 key pieces of evidence in a box, put the wrong case number on it, and set it on fire. They wrote the person who killed him. We know who killed him. And the murderer is the state's #1 witness. Okay. And they write him a letter and say, and we have the letter saying your testimony doesn't line up with the medical examiner. That's because he's lying. Okay. And they say it would help our case if you would change your testimony. That's called perjury. All right. Then they say, here's what we'd like you to say. That's called witness tampering. Now, what I'm saying, there's supporting perjury also in there. I'm giving you 4 to 5 felonies right there that the DA committed to put this guy on the death penalty. And again, this guy's been on the gurney 3 times. He's been 2 seconds away from death. We end up having this sent to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court comes back and just spanks Oklahoma, saying it is corrupt. What you did's corrupt. They should have filed on those district attorneys. The AG comes back and says, well, it's been 24 years. It's too old. Well, tell that to the guy that's been in prison 24 years. You know, that is a crime. And then we turn around and have to retry him. First judge, we say, hey, you got to recuse. You're too involved in that. Would not recuse. Now, a judge ought to know whether they're supposed to recuse or not. You know, I know it. I got enough sense to know it. Why should they not know it? Second judge, we had to get after them and you know, you got to recuse. The third judge would not recuse, had to have a hearing. Now, guess what? She has a hearing on herself. So we had to present in front of her, are you biased? And she would have found that she wasn't, except we end up coming with some emails that showed such improper communications between her and this district attorney who's destroying evidence, going to be a witness. So she had to recuse. My point is, here you get spanked by the U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Oklahoma gets spanked for being corrupt. And before you even get out of the batter box, we ain't even got into the trial. Before you get out of the batter box, you done got 3 instances of corruption, again, that a judge should not have to be told, should know they should recuse on their own. That's called Ethics 101. It's called morals. So in this grand jury, we just appealed it to the Supreme Court Justice, who, by the way, we named in the grand jury. So now he's telling us, and he's telling us, if you don't get me this information by the 8th, we're kicking all this out, which we totally expect him to kick it out. We done got a petition ready to go. But here's the thing. How does the Supreme Court Justice, who's on the actual petition, and he's going to rule on the petition saying he's going to dismiss it when he's the subject of it, and I got to explain that to him that that's unethical. That's where we are in Oklahoma.
Well, this is why it's important when we do the judges, guys. When the judges come up for election, you cannot just guess. You have to do your homework, and if you're not sure, just pick the new guy. That's what I do. But you need to, that's what I did. Now I know and I look into it, but it is important that we are informed when we go to the ballot box and do not retain judges that are crooked, because there are more crooked than are not right now. And if that's the way it is in Oklahoma, it is worse in the other states. Now, I do want to point out one
Charity,
good piece.
Could I tell your listeners, hey, a great place to go on judges. They always do a really great job. Is OK2A.
Yes.
They do a really good job.
That's for Oklahoma only.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
but OK2A does amazing. Yeah,
they do a great job at vetting. So if you're not sure and you want a place, just kind of go in there and on the website, pull up. They generally have that listed. Great place to check that out in Oklahoma.
It is. OK2A is the reason we need to go ahead. I don't think I've had Dawn on the show. I bragged about him a lot. Don Spencer and OK2A is why I can carry a gun in my purse and I don't have a permit, because the permit is the Second Amendment that says, being
Yeah.
necessary to the security of a free state, it shall not be infringed. I do want to bring up that we did have a small win, which was huge. The DHS whistleblower, Maria, what was it? What's her name? It starts with an F.
Chico.
She was a DHS whistleblower and they were forced to give her job back.
Yes.
Were you a part of that? That smells of JJ all over.
Fact, so one of the things that come out on all these grand jury things that we're trying to do. So we had kids waterboarded at Greer Institution there in Enid. We had a report of mental health kids being waterboarded. We had a report of kids being sexually assaulted in Tulsa Detention Center. We had come in and reported that to them, and they refused to do anything. The feds come in and rated it and verified it. So we got with the group and had a 350-page, very comprehensive report put in this. We gave it to the AG. We gave it to the speaker. We gave it to the pro tem, to the agency heads, to the governor. And I told them, I said, let me put my old prophet hat on. I'm going to prophesy what they're going to do. And that ain't going to be a rat's hiney thing, okay? And so anyways, I told them, y'all wait about 60 days, and y'all send it to me, and I'll jump up and raise all kinds of heck. And we did that. They did absolutely nothing. We went ahead and had a hearing, and they were trying to kill our hearing. They were not wanting us to have this hearing. But I had Chico's her last name, I never can get her first name. It's Rino. Anyways, it'll come to me here in a minute. But I call her Chico all the time. So anyways, Chico had her attorney come because DHS was already kind of on her. So her attorney presented her case in our hearing. And we had worked together with her and tried to help her for quite some time. But yes, it come out. But we had another rally with Chico and a lady named Teresa. And that was to try to get cameras in the courtroom. And so we did that in Tulsa. And so when we did that, that's what they immediately come out. She was not on hours. She was off the clock, and she did that. So they fired her. And so she's won the case. They have to hire her back. But if you look at her case, the DHS, she worked for DHS. Her ex was assaulting the kids. There was some sexual assault in there. DHS told her that Rosano Chico, thank you. My brain just stopped for a second. But anyways, they told her that if you don't get those kids out of the home, we're going to file neglect on you. She goes and puts them in a shelter. They all go to a shelter. And the district attorney of Tulsa files kidnapping on her. Now, there was no order. There wasn't a divorce order. There wasn't any, you get the kids here, a child custody order. So how do you kidnap your own kids? She's over there. They end up filing on her, giving the kids to the accused grandmother, and this has been going on for I don't know how long, that they've had kidnapping charges, which are totally bogus. And the DA there in Tulsa has weaponized that office, has weaponized his office to try to force her to give up her kids. And it's not going to work. She's got the guts and she's got the backbone, and she has really exposed them. So she's an awesome, awesome person. Can't say enough good about her, but she has just, I'm telling you, they put her through hell, taking her kids, like I say, fired her, have had her back and forth to court. I think they offered her a 90-day. So if that'll tell you, they offered her a 90-day deferred on kidnapping. You know what I'm saying? So it's a total bogus deal. And that's why we need that court system. I can name you numerous cases up there, the Tulsa, Broken Arrow area that need investigated. We need those courts investigated.
Well, we've had Representative Gabe Woolley on several times, and he's spoken a little bit about that as well. It's disheartening. And, you say she's awesome, and she is, but the price she's having to pay.
Oh, yeah.
is
Well, and
disgusting.
this is everything. I love when JJ comes on because just your voice makes me happy. But just I know all the things that you've seen, all the things you've gone through. You've sent me to tears talking about some of the things you've seen, and I just want to, make sure everyone understands when JJ brings up an allegation of abuse and then he investigates it. You've seen the hard evidence that's shown that these horrible things are happening in these facilities. These kids are being abused, and it's awful. Going into the details makes you cry because I know you've seen it. So this isn't just theory. These things have been proven to be going on.
Well, there was a large rumor in Oklahoma, and JJ, you can set it straight, but the waterboarding, there was actually pictures of the children being waterboarded.
What the pictures were of, we have the pictures. I have the pictures and have turned into pictures. The pictures were actually of assault. One kid, most of these kids are mute. So one kid, I wear, in fact, I've got them on right now. When I work.
Most of the kids are mute
at the facility.
Yeah, they can't speak. So I think one out of the bunch that we were talking about.
That's horrifying. Okay.
Yes, it's unreal, and that's what the DA used to say.
Is it a cause of this, or did they go in that way? I'm sorry to keep.
No, these kids have mental health issues, and so they are.
So they pick on the kids that can't tell on them. Okay,
right.
That's
and here's what's funny. That's one of the things that the DA reason why not to investigate or to pursue this. Well, the witnesses can't speak. Well, that's hogwash because the whistleblower speaks just fine.
Exactly.
And guess what? When you got pictures of a kid that's got his eyes swollen, hey, his head, I mean, this eye was swollen out kind of even like here. And you can see, I would say, and again, I'm just looking at the pictures. I would say a Wolverine, a wedge toe, wedge sole boot. It's what it looks like. You could actually see some prints, So again, the other kids just had black eyes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just looked like somebody smacked them a little bit. But we had like 4 or 5 pictures of that. So no question abuse. Now, was the waterboarding going on? You always hear me saying that it was alleged or that we have a report of. But again, do I believe it? Absolutely, I believe it. There was another person ends up dead there that we've never been able to get. Were they actually murdered or what was going on? When you go down to that Tulsa detention center, we went in early and told them, hey, molesting kids. I don't know if y'all was watching last night. They had a riot at what they call Kojak, which is the toughest place. So if you've got juveniles, the worst juveniles in Oklahoma are going to go to Kojak. They've had sexual problems down there. They've had all kinds of problems. We've reported it. I reported a deal called Scissor Tail. I had a witness ready to come forward at Scissor Tail. We got him a lawyer. He had a lawyer. Me and the lawyer and him met. I went forward and gave them, said, hey, I've got a whistleblower. If y'all want to interview them, come here and interview him. And we had information that should be pretty easy to see. Possibly a girl that was in that home would be pregnant. You could take DNA testing off of one of the employees, see if that'd be an easy case to work. I do these things. That would be simple. I set that up where they had to go through me so that I knew they would be doing something. Guess what? Nothing. I've turned all this in. They did nothing. Feds come in and raid Tulsa, verify everything that we've said. And guess what? Don't you think and get this. This is where things are just crazy. Okay. So OJA is the agency that's over that detention center. Okay. In Tulsa. They collaborate with Tulsa County. DHS is in there, and a group called OCCY is kind of the watchdog over them. Now, OCCY, if I remember correctly, we've got written communication saying, okay, all this is happening, and they do absolutely nothing. Now, if you want to go back several years, this is a pattern. This is not just something that happens. This is a pattern of abuse. We see it all the time. Okay, and it's the same people that's doing it all. So here you come in, and they come in and raid all this. So the guy over OJA, his name was Carmel, okay? Now, when we present this hearing that I'm talking about where we presented all this stuff and they were trying to stop us, the week before we do that hearing, when we come out that we're going to have that hearing, the director of DHS resigns that week, okay? Which Scooby-Doo would call a clue. Scooby-Doo would also say front row, okay? So here's the deal. She resigns. Guess who they appoint over DHS? Carmel. Now, here's the guy that was getting all this information, and yet that's who they put over even the higher position. You can't make it up what is going on. And do you not think, I believe that if these agency heads were given information, verifiable information, kids were being sexually abused, and they took no action to try to verify it, to try to see. And you notice I always say alleged, we need to investigate. Guess what? I'm not saying it was done, but you have a duty and obligation under Kelsey Briggs Act to do an investigation and to verify, yes, it did happen, or verify it didn't happen. That's what they should do. That's what every one of these government officials going up to the pro tem, to the speaker, to the AG, and that's what that grand jury is going to be about. Did you ignore the Kelsey Briggs Act? Did you ignore that kids are being, and what they're going to try to do, I'm going to tell you, they're going to try to come out and say, well, you can't trust anything, JJ. He's all over the place. And what they don't know, I have a thumb drive that is on its way to several news stations, big national news stations, that has 850 documents verifying everything that I said. And that's why I filed a lawsuit on them. So I have a lawsuit pending over all of those documentations. And they're trying to stop me from getting any. I've got documents that show one of the agencies made an agreement with our House leadership to not allow me to get any records, and that if I got records, I had to sign a non-disclosure to get the records. So I just turned around and sued them.
So as you can see, JJ gets it done. He doesn't take no for an answer, and I love it. But I have great news. JJ is running for lieutenant governor in Oklahoma.
Nice.
JJ, how
T-shirts, by the way.
There's T-shirts. What's the website for that?
So JJ4OK.com, JJ4OK.com. If we don't win, we definitely have the coolest T-shirts. I guarantee you.
That's pretty cool. I believe you on that. Well, so do they just say JJ4OK, or do you?
Well, they've got Bigfoot now. I don't know if y'all. So while I have a serious side and I go after everybody, I also have a fun side. And so I put a $3 million bounty on Bigfoot. We don't want to harm. We don't hurt the whole feller, you know. Catch him alive, unharmed. $3 million. So the T-shirt has Bigfoot. It has Oklahoma. I should have ran in there and got one. Oklahoma, and it has the Bigfoot on it. It's at night, and it says some legends are true. JJ Humphrey for lieutenant governor.
Okay, I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna wear mine out here in Nevada.
Well, we're gonna we got those T-shirts on the website. I'm working right now to get the long sleeves and the hoodies since winter's coming on, and so I've got some really cool ones that are gonna say JJ for lieutenant governor. So it'll have JJ for lieutenant governor here, and then it'll have the Bigfoot deal on the back, and those will be. So the other ones are red and black, and these are going to be tan, I think. Tan or blue. I'm going to go with tan or blue, I think.
Well, good Lord. What is in store for Oklahoma with JJ Humphreys as lieutenant governor?
Well, let me tell everybody why. I looked at, I had a lot of people want to push me to run for state auditor, and that was kind of interesting. But state auditor doesn't get to audit what they want. They're told what they can do. And if you look at the audits, they take 2 to 3 years. They're worthless. They've done nothing if you look at what's happened with state auditing stuff. So again, what I looked at, I had people wanting corporation commission. That would be a pretty good position and could do some good. But I looked at lieutenant governor, and if you look down south, lieutenant governor is a very powerful position. If you look in Oklahoma, it's a bunch of nice people who go around cutting some ribbons, kissing some babies, trying to get ready to run for governor. And some nice people. I will tell you, you will find nobody nicer than Matt Pinnell. You will not find anybody. The one prior, Lamb, he's a good guy. Look at his background. Awesome guy. You know, but here's the thing. What are they doing? And the answer is not a whole lot. And so here's the thing. If you looked at the House, I'm a representative. So the House has the speaker and it has a pro tem. And basically the pro tem does whatever the speaker wants him to do. But if you go over to Senate, they have the pro tem, and he is running the whole show. So how's the second guy running the show over at the Senate? And if you look at who's the number one guy, and guess who it is? It's the lieutenant governor. So I'm looking into all of this, but I'm fairly certain I'm correct. And I would tell y'all, go pull up some articles from a guy named Murphy, who used to be a representative, former representative Jason Murphy. Yes. Very, very smart dude. He's a wise brother. Okay, yes, so you can go look at him, and he's wrote some articles on this. I started saying this before those articles come out. I was very tickled when he came out with that, because nobody will listen to me, but they'll listen to him. He's smart, you know. So anyways, what he has shown is that if you had somebody who had the backbone to come in and take that position over, that we could take back the Senate, and that we could use that to expose everything. If they would come out and be very transparent in our budgets, man, we need to go after these agencies. They do not answer to no one, and how you do it is through legislation and budgets. And again, you don't need 1,000 bills run. You need bills targeted at fixing these agencies, making these agencies be transparent, protect kids, protect inmates. You know, inmates need to go to jail. I have no problem. I probably put more jail than anybody you know. I put lots of people in jail, but my goal is to change their behavior.
Exactly.
If they don't want to change their behavior, I'm going to put them in as long as I can. We're not going to be inhumane. We're going to be professional. But I guess what? If you don't want to cooperate and change your behavior and make your life better, then I would have a place for you over here that has no TV, no nothing. You want to go over here and be a knucklehead? We've got a knucklehead facility that we'll put you in. You want to better your life, become a productive citizen, we can start working towards that goal. And we need to stop repeat offenders. Mm-hmm. And again, one of the things, the DAs are illegally charging supervision. They've hijacked all of the supervision. When we did this state question 780 and made everything a misdemeanor, the DAs hijacked all that, got all of those cases. It's unconstitutional what they're doing. It violates Constitution. It is fraud what they're doing, and that's not my opinion. The appellate court said what they are doing is fraud. I busted them on it. They quit collecting the money the way they were. They started sending it to their DA council. I tracked 55 million to 4 counts. They took them 4 counts and give it back to the general fund of the government. So the Capitol turns around and gives them the money back so that they can avoid this court order and use the money however they want. It's called fraud. It's called money laundering. This is the top DAs in our state, top law enforcement. And that's why when you go to DAs and they're destroying evidence and they're covering up, when they're withholding evidence, when they're telling their witnesses who murdered somebody to lie on the witness stand, when they're going in and lying, when they're going in to commit perjury. We caught the AG the other day in Tremaine Wood's case. He was emailing the appellate court judge that's over that to the death penalty case. It's called ex parte communications. It is absolutely wrong. They both know it. The highest positions there are, and they're cheating and doing all of this. They both should be disbarred. They both should have lost their jobs right there. And guess what? We caught them on email doing it.
And they're doing it blatant, like just brazen, just out there. It's like, and this is what drives me nuts. I always joke. I mean, I have jobs today, but I joke at, like, the people who work at Starbucks have more checks and accountability to make sure that they're doing their job. There's cameras. There's a way to make sure that no one's lying or cheating or stealing or doing anything illegal. But within our government and then within our facilities with children, and like you're talking about the prison system too, they can get away with lying, cheating, stealing, abusing people. And they are the ones that get mad when we say we want transparency. I mean, we had a case in my state with a disabled child who was being abused on the bus. The bus driver, we found out, was raping this child. And again, this was a child that couldn't speak either. And this went to court. He was found guilty, all that stuff. But it's like they wanted to hide it. And I'm just thinking, how is there not transparency when it comes to anything in the government or anything like you're saying in these facilities. However, there's transparency in literally every other sector. I mean, I've got cameras on me with my work. Everyone looks at my email. Yeah,
Well,
they're doing these illegal things with their email, and they don't want to be. They're like, what? We can do it. They just do it in plain daylight, in broad daylight. No one does anything about it.
Well, you have law enforcement officers who have cameras on in very hostile situations. You know, if you want to talk about a difficult situation out there on the street, people hollering, screaming, you're having to watch your back. Okay, they want them to wear, and I have no problem with that, because then it says what happened. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But again, in a controlled, very good setting, you don't want cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you not want cameras?
They don't want transparency.
I mean, and I was talking to a lady yesterday, and she said, "Hey, I can't remember everything you're telling me. Would you allow me to tape you?" And I laughed. I said, "Ma'am, I'm not going to say anything that I have a problem with you tape. You take me anytime you want. Knowingly or unknowingly, what I say is what I say. And if I said it and I shouldn't have said it, I'll be the first one to say, well, shut my mouth. I shouldn't have said that. And occasionally I do have to say, there are times that mouth gets away from me. You know what I'm saying? I need a little reining in every once in a while. So, but I'm not going to say something. You know, I very much try to be very, very, very truthful as what I know the truth. If I don't know it, I'm not afraid to say I don't know something. And again, why? And another problem is, I was Monday at a prison where an officer beat an inmate, and they have it on video, and we can't get the video. Now, why we have the video if we're not going to be allowed to use it? Only they can see it. And what's funny, they fire this officer, but they don't file charges on him. And they write up the inmate, give him a Class X, which takes away all his good time, which can be several years. Okay. So my question is, well, that seems a little curious to me, so you're saying both of them were wrong? I mean, how does that work? You know what I'm saying? So I got it. If the inmate popped the officer, now the officer's not supposed to respond. He's supposed to take care of himself. But what they teach you is you do the minimum amount of force necessary to control the subject or the situation. Okay. Minimum amount of force necessary. Well, that may be, it may be a full out fight, but at the end of the day, the video will show you where you justified. If it's a full out fight, I mean, if I'm fighting a 6'5", buffed up guy, guess what? I may be giving it, you know what I mean? If I smack him in the knee and then punch him in the head, it's good enough. That was the minimum amount of force necessary to control that situation. But you can look at that and go, yeah, I think JJ needed to pop that guy in the head right there, because he was going to get his butt whipped if he don't. But if you got the guy handcuffed and the situation's under control, and then I walk by there because he got a good punch on me and I smack him in the eye, guess what? I ought to be fired. I ought to have charges filed on me. And that's just the way it is. And if that guy struck that officer, he ought to have charges filed on him. And there's not. That's why we have the video, and I'm for the video. But again, we got these agencies that answer to nobody, and we're seeing, just like DHS. I got a case going on right now where they have these people that you have the wife, ex-wife doing handling the adoption part of overseeing the kid. You got this lawyer handling the adoption process. So you got two people very closely related handling the whole process. A person who works for the attorney ends up adopting the kid. It looks like they took the kid absolutely for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It looks like they set this lady up to kidnap her kid, steal her kid, adopt the kid out. Now the woman who adopted him ends up beating him almost to death. Almost to death. And again, nobody's looking at it. And you go trying to check into this. Well, that's confidential. We can't tell you. Well, we can't tell you this. We can't tell you that. You can't find out anything. Well, who holds them accountable?
Right.
How do you find out whether they're doing their job? And again, our legislators, our leaders, they go side with them and they go make a deal. Well, we won't let JJ come over here and get any of this. We'll stop him. And then why should I got elected just like they got elected? Why am I having to go to this person and ask them permission to go get a say a subpoena to get their records or to even go over it? We shouldn't have to have a subpoena. We got elected. We are in their food chain. We're their boss, not them. I don't answer to them. They answer to me. Mm-hmm. I should be able to go over there and have access to whatever I need to have access. And again, we're not seeing that in any agency. They're all using, well, that's under investigation. We can't talk to you. Well, that's confidentiality. Well, that's HIPAA. We can't. Here's the deal. There's some things HIPAA, but if I'm asking you, did you lock that inmate in a room and forget about him 3 days just because he's a mental health client or mental health inmate? I'm not asking about his mental health. I'm asking you, did you lock some buck in that room 3 days with no food, no water, and no bathroom and forgot about him? I'm asking you that. We can't answer mental health questions. No. And you just want to, I'm going to slap the crap out of you. Y'all turn them videos off because I'm fixing to slap you.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating. And that's what, and again, that's our entire government. That's our judicial. And if you try to fight them and come against them, if you can't hire a $100,000 lawyer, so what you see is these very wealthy people like you talk about, they get some justice.
Yeah.
But us guys, and again, it's not even poverty. I don't consider myself in poverty, but I don't have the money just to go out and blow $20,000
exactly
on an attorney. I you know what I'm saying? I cannot spend $20,000 trying to get justice. And that's where we're at. I mean, and again, these courts, they're a cabal. Most of them are prosecutors in a black robe that are willing to cover up anything for their buddies and willing to do anything. And we're seeing them not follow the law. And if you go in, pro se, so you go in and I don't have a whole lot, I'm 35 years in the criminal justice system. I know a little bit. I've got a friend who knows a little bit. Between the two of us, we're about halfway dangerous. And, but you know what? They treat us like the redheaded stepchild. We can give what we know is qualified information, legal information, and they'll just act like, no good, because we're not attorneys and they don't see us on a level. And again, I'm pretty confident in who I am. So it's not like, oh, I feel like inferior. It's not, I don't feel inferior to them, but I can tell you they treat me inferior, like I have no business. Like, how dare you come in here and do a motion when you don't have a law degree? Well, how dare you do the stuff that you're doing when you do have a law degree? How about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
well, that's why it's important that we need to be paying attention. We have to be vetting the people we're putting in office, the judges we're putting in, the people you are putting in as representatives and senators. No wonder the federal system is so gone, because we have to take back our communities and our states before we can even try to take back the federal government. The Constitution is still in effect if we demand it is. It is still up to us. And one thing I appreciate about you, JJ, is that you let us know and you remind us that we still have power when we choose to fight. And we are at war. We have been infiltrated, and we must fight back. We must fight to save America, or our children will not have even the constitutional rights to say that we have. We've already given up many rights, but I believe we can get them back because they haven't taken them on a level where we can't yet. If we don't fight back, they are gone forever. And so pay attention to who you're voting for. Find out who it is in your state. Andrea and I were talking about putting together a scorecard for the states. That's a tall order.
Yeah.
We're working with
someone in every state to help us with that.
We're working with our state leaders. But in Oklahoma, I agree with JJ. OK2A is a great resource. We actually partner with them. They're on our website, and there's many of our brigades are run through OK2A chapters throughout the state, because it's important, and we need to quit worrying about who gets credit. If OK2A is doing a great job, then we just partner with what they're doing. The country's on fire. We have to quit worrying about who gets credit for holding the hose to put it out. We just have to put it out, so we have a house to live in. So
Charity,
go to freedom. Go ahead, JJ. Please do.
So here's the deal. What you're talking about, the Constitution, It's we the
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And the founding fathers were so smart in some of the processes that they set up. And so the grand jury process is one of the processes that are going right back to the basic Main Street and allowing the people, when things are out of control and they can see that, to sign a petition, to call for a people's court to hold these people accountable. And that's what the grand jury process is all about. If we lose our court system, the lady's got a blindfold. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican. The
Right.
system is supposed to be unbiased. And when we lose faith in our system, whether it be law enforcement, it's all the criminal justice system, civil justice. But when we lose faith in that system and nobody trusts that system, we have lost our country. So if we're going to start the fight, for me, when we start the fight to take back Oklahoma, the government of Oklahoma, it has to start with that court system. And that's why we're starting there. And that's why we planted the flag as we've done. And we're going to take it to them. And don't brag about it until you do it. If you take the fight to them and then talk when the dust is settled, then we'll talk. But we're fixing to kick up some dust.
I love that. Excited that we have JJ in Oklahoma. Andrea, you're in the wrong state.
I know. We need more JJs.
Move to southeastern Oklahoma. Come Bigfoot hunt.
Yeah, go Bigfoot hunting. That's so much fun. Well, you're going to be here in June, Andrea. So
yes, ma'am.
We'll have to all get together when you're in town.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
You guys, please go to Freedom Brigades. Yeah, appreciate you so much, JJ. Go to freedombrigades.com. Keep up with Tom Renz. We're so grateful he partners with us in a big way. Go to our shop. When you buy from Patriots, you get stuff that is better for you. Campbell's Soup just came out, and they finally said out loud what we knew was going on, that they're poisoning the food, basically.
Someone might be suing them soon. Watch out.
Well, and they're doing there's other companies. I keep telling you, stay out of the big box stores. When you eat out of the big box stores, you're being poisoned in one way or another. That's the kind of stuff that causes cancer. So you need to buy from Patriots. You need to grow your food, but it matters when you buy from people that aren't trying to kill you. The big box stores are in bed with the people trying to enslave you. Stay out of them. So go to freedombrigades.com, go to our shop. We've got special deals for you. Dr. Stella Emanuel, we're going to be having her on hopefully in the next month. I'm supposed to call her back, but she's got a deal on there. You need to stock up on ivermectin right now. Everybody, we've got sore throats and stuff going around. Stay in front of that stuff. Don't go to pharmacia doctors unless you absolutely have to. Take care of yourself naturally, stay ahead, and be prepared. So go to freedombrigades.com. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
All right, let me see if I can play this now.
Y'all have a blessed day.